First of all, let me just say it. Numping's face is the ultimate expression of beauty. Period. I needed to get that out of the way before anything else. I don't make these rules. Them's the rules. Numping is just too pretty for this world. Now, about the outrage over his role as Khemjira and all those toxic comments claiming he's too feminine for a BL role or that his femininity somehow makes the show less enjoyable, that's not critique. That's insecurity dressed up as criticism. Let us be real. A lot of women in the fandom watch BL as a self insert fantasy. When someone like Namping shows up, a man who embodies beauty, softness, and grace in a way that completely challenges their comfort zone, it rattles that fantasy. It's not that he's too feminine, it's that they cannot handle a man being prettier, more delicate, and more magnetic than them. Which honestly sounds like a you problem and does not have anything to do with the fact that Namping has the ultimate face card. I'm sorry, I said what I said.
I said what I said.
What's even more irritating is that you don't have to say all of these. You don't need to throw around too pretty, too feminine, like it's some kind of insult. You could simply say he's not my preference and move on. And honestly, I'd respect that. But no, some people have to make it a whole thing. Like femininity in men automatically makes them less desirable or less capable of carrying a role. It's unnecessary, it's shallow, and says a lot more about their own hangups than it does about the actor. And let me just ask, if self insert fantasy is what you're here for, why are you in the BL fandom? If what you're looking for is self insert fantasy where you can project yourself onto the character and imagine yourself being the one in the relationship, then maybe stick to Colleen Hoover, Twilight, or E.L. James. BL isn't meant to cater to your personal daydreams of dominance and submission. It's meant to explore queerness, intimacy, and emotional connection between men. If a character being too feminine ruins that for you, then maybe you were never really here for the queer stories in the first place. What the fuck are you doing watching BL anyway? And before we go further, hi, my name is Nemogasa. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I would really appreciate it. Anyways, I've been in the yaoi fandom for most of my adult life, since my late teens. And let me tell you, in a space overwhelmingly populated by women who objectify and fetishize gay men, I have never heard anyone complain that a character was too feminine until now in the BL fandom. And this is the same fandom that gave us cross dressers, drag performers, delicate boys in lace, and masked men in teeny tiny lingerie. The yaoi world has seen it all, and while yes, a lot of comments are downright lewd and occasionally criminal, never have I seen anyone say he's too pretty or a character's too feminine. And that brings me back to that show I mentioned months ago, the one with the femme presenting lead that no one seems to talk about because it's too femme. And some people in the comments are saying, well, the fandom is mainly women, which is wild in itself because how in a fandom made out of mostly women is feminine a crime? The hypocrisy of femininity being rejected in a female majority fandom is just insane. It's actually wild to think that a fandom made up mostly of women can turn around and treat femininity like it's a flaw. How do you exist in a space built around romantic fantasies and still think that softness or a more feminine presentation makes someone less? It's so ironic and so baffling. And preference is fine, don't get me wrong. If that visual does not do it for you, you're welcome to your wrong opinion or your wrong preference. What I'm saying is that it's completely valid. Personally, I prefer feminine presenting visuals like Namping. I love soft features like no And maybe Kong, the doe-eyed look, that deer caught in headlights aesthetic, that's my taste. But you don't see me going around saying I don't like masculine actors in BL because they look straight or they aren't gay enough. Because if I ever said something like Z or Max aren't queer enough for me or they look too straight, I would sound absolutely insane. If you wouldn't invalidate masculine actor for not fitting your idea of what queerness should look like, then why do it for the feminine ones? Preference doesn't have to come with judgment. You can like what you like without disrespecting people, especially actors. Respecting actors seems to be such a strange concept lately in this fandom, which is wild times. A lot of fans like to hide behind it's just my preference kind of thing and then start spouting the most homophobic garbage. When your so called preference conveniently aligns with mainstream beauty standards, what you're expressing isn't taste, it's internalized bias. The mindset comes straight from internalized misogyny and heteronormative thinking, the belief that masculine is the default or the superior mode of attraction. BL as a genre literally exists because it challenges traditional masculinity and heteronormative romance structures. So to sit here and say a character is too feminine defeats the whole point. These stories are meant to expand the idea of what love and attraction can look like, not reinforce the same tired gender roles that queer media was created to reject. In a genre built around subverting traditional gender expectations in romance, complaining that the actor is too soft, too pretty, or not manly enough misses the entire point of BL as a space to explore diverse masculinities and fluid expressions. And don't get me started on fans complaining that Elliot as Hwayong should not have been top because he's too feminine. Top bottom isn't a gender role, it's a sexual position. That's it. Reducing it to appearances or behavior reinforces the stereotypes that equate dominance with masculinity and submission with femininity. Again, in a fandom dominated by women, yet they often enforce these rhetorics through these comments. It's not only misogynistic, it's homophobic because it reinforces the idea that queerness should conform to straight coded standards. A feminine man leading a romance or even being the dominant one should not be revolutionary, but it still is. We have the same conversation when Pit Babe first came out. If you remember, fans were outraged that Pavel, as Babe, the older, more masculine one, will bottom for Pooh, as Charlie, the younger, softer one. And Pooh isn't even that feminine. He's just younger than Pavel. But somehow that alone was enough to spark outrage, as if queerness has to follow strict heteronormative rulebook on who gets to top or to bottom. It's the same tired conversation just dressed in new internalized bias. Let us all be honest with ourselves. A lot of this boils down to insecurity. Some fans get uncomfortable when a man on screen is prettier or exudes a kind of beauty they cannot claim. They're just uncomfortable being reminded that attraction doesn't revolve around them. It's projection, plain and simple. When you dismiss an actor for being too feminine, you're not just criticizing casting, you're policing gender expression. That has real world consequences. It contributes to the same toxic culture that tells queer men to act straight, to be accepted, and that mocks men for being soft, emotional, or graceful. God forbid men cannot be pretty. BL should be the last place enforcing those limits. I honestly don't even know why we are even having these conversations in this fandom. It's so hypocritical that it's exhausting. How can someone be in the BL fandom and not support queer stories and diverse representation is beyond me. Who are you to police what someone should look like in the BL world and how queerness should be represented. At the end of the day, BL as a genre was built on exploring queerness in all its forms. So if you're here just to see your fantasies mirrored back at you, maybe take a step back and ask yourself why. Because queerness isn't here to fit your lens of attraction or your comfort zone. It's here to exist, to be seen, and to be celebrated in all the ways it manifests. And if that threatens you, maybe the problem isn't the actor or the character, maybe it's you.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.